Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Jacob McClellan. Construction will begin in the next few months on Cape Girardeau's new wastewater treatment plant. The city may also have a new automated leaf collection system in the near future. Here to talk about these developments and more is Public Works Director Tim Gramling. Thank you so much for dropping by.
Sure, thank you for having me.
Well, first, let's talk a little bit about this new wastewater treatment plant. Where are we at right now in this big process?
Well, we've actually we've completed the design on it, and so we've sent all the plans and the specifications up to the Department of Natural Resources, and they have to review it all and approve it, and then once they are satisfied that everything is set to go with them, they'll issue us a construction permit, and basically we're just waiting for that. That could happen at any time now, and we're hoping within the next week to 2 weeks we'll have that, and then basically we'll be ready to advertise for bids.
Is there any soft date for when construction might begin?
We're looking at probably in the August time frame of this summer.
Is there any idea how long it'll take to complete the construction?
It's probably going to be about a 2-year construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why is it that the city needs this new wastewater treatment plant to begin with?
Well, first of all, it's a 50-year-old treatment facility, and regulations over that amount of time have changed quite a bit. And also the capacity has, kind of been used up too. Cape's grown a lot in 50 years. So, the combination of the two things, regulatory issues have gotten a lot more stringent. As far as, when the treatment plant gets to a point, as far as it receives a lot of water, especially during rains and that type of stuff, that overwhelm the system and really test its capacity. And when it gets to certain points of beyond its capacity, right now we have to bypass around the treatment plant, goes directly to the river, and basically the regulatory agencies have decided that they don't want that to happen anymore. And so they put us on a compliance schedule to get that changed and make sure that we don't do that anymore. And also, the city, with its as much as it's grown in the last few years, we're needing to increase the capacity so that we don't want the treatment plant to be a limiting factor in growth and development for the city. So kind of accomplishing both of those things.
Now, one of the most recent developments out of your department has been the possibility of adding a new automated leaf collection system. Mm-hmm. Could you kind of just describe what this would be like?
Basically, right now the system that we have consists of like trailer mounted. They're like big vacuums that go out and vacuum up the leaves, and they have to be manually operated, and we have to utilize the dump trucks that we have in our street department, and they're kind of small. What we're going to compare to that is a much larger truck. It has a lot more capacity than the trucks that we have now. It has an arm that, instead of having to be manually operated to pick up the leaves, is done automatically from the driver in the cab. So the same person driving the truck can also operate the arm from the outside, and it can go out, reach out beside it, and pick up all the leaves. So basically we go from an operation of using anywhere from 20 to 25 people and maybe 10 or 12 pieces of equipment to one piece of equipment and one person.
I'll admit that I've lived here in Cape Girardeau for 5 years, and this year was the first year I actually got my leaves out in front of my house in time for the pickup, and I actually felt pretty good about myself.
Yeah, a lot of people have that challenge sometimes, and that's a big challenge for the whole program because it's leaves, and so that's a Mother Nature thing, and we can't control that, and we try our best to plan around what we know usually happens, but sometimes there's some twists and turns for us, and the leaves fall a little earlier some years a little later. And sometimes the quantities are different, so there's always these variables. But that's the beauty of the program that we're going to start, is we have a lot more flexibility by only having one person and one piece of equipment. We can start the program a lot earlier, and we can run it a lot later, and we can get in front of people's houses multiple times instead of just once.
So would this be a lot like the solid waste trucks that we currently have, except for maybe in the big handle that comes out and takes the trash cans? It's more of a big vacuum that would go out?
Yeah, it's kind of like a tube, yeah.
Big tube.
The truck will look real similar to that, right.
What's the estimated cost for the program?
The piece of equipment is about $150,000, and that's really the only cost. I mean, we'll have some operating costs as far as the fuel and the maintenance on the truck and that type of stuff. But we've compared that to the numbers that we spend now, and we've estimated that it's going to be at least a $40,000 a year savings over what we do now. We have to hire a lot of extra seasonal workers, and with that many more pieces of equipment out, there's always more fuel that's being used and a lot more maintenance that's required too. So this is going to be a lot more efficient.
Now, the city of Cape Girardeau has relied on river water for its drinking supply for well, probably forever.
Right.
But recently, that's all changed. Tell us about the big change in Cape Girardeau's water supply.
We're really excited about that. Something we've been working for a long time. We've finally switched over to completely off of the river, and we're getting all well water now. 100% of the water that goes through our treatment system and out into the distribution system to all the customers is from wells, which is a much higher quality water. It's a much easier treatment process. There's a lot less variables involved when you're getting water out of the wells. There's the taste and the odor and all those types of things are much better now.
What are some of are there any health benefits to going with well water instead of river water?
Well, I mean, from a treatment process, there's just less challenges. So yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, the guys were always really good before about keeping on top of it to make sure the treatment process is where the health issues are run the most risk. And so when you got such a variable source of what they had before, it was a real challenge to keep up with that. So I'd say the quality will still be just as good, but there'll be less risk, I guess, of having something happen that would be a health risk because of the fact that this water is much easier to treat. As
I understand it, with the river water, the quality would change, and the recipe, for lack of a better word, changed with how to treat the water. And I guess with well water, it's not. You don't have that same continually changing water quality.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to adjust all the chemicals and the amounts. Every day, it's almost an hour by hour variation on how much of the different chemicals they had to give. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, and it was something they had to monitor, on a more consistent basis. And now, it's almost, the guys that are running it now are almost, it's almost like a too good to be true type thing that it's. It almost runs itself, and they still stay on top of it though to make sure they're still running all the same tests. We're required to do that, but yeah, it's just so much better now.
Tell us a little bit about the city's switch a couple of years ago to single stream recycling. I know that after the first year there was quite an uptick in the amount of recyclables that came into that the city collected. Have you still seen this increase? Is it still?
Yeah. The first year we saw the first full year we saw about a 60% increase in the quantity of material we were bringing in, and about a 50% increase in the number of people participating, and that even went up another 25% in each of those areas this past year. So we've continued to see a little bit of an increase. So.
Tim Gramling is Cape Girardeau's Public Works Director. Tim, thank you so much for coming by. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
It's been great.